welcome everybody to the second annual monthly giving summit. Is anybody else feeling hype after that music video intro? I was just back here like nodding along. I love all these words talking about what you want your monthly giving communities to feel like and empower. I am so excited to be with all of you here today. My name is Dana Snyder. I am the speaker, author, and creator of the Monthly Giving Mastermind. I just can't stop looking at the chat. This is my favorite thing about this community. And I am the host of the Missions to Movements podcast and your host over the next 2.5 days together. I am so thrilled. Karen, I wish we were there in person too. You'd be here in my home, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in my guest room is where I produce this from. So when we say we are a lean, mean, scrappy team bringing to you what we hope is a really inspiring 2 days of being together in community. I do want to note for everybody that is here that closed captioning is available throughout the event. So please click the CC button at the bottom of your screen right here, no matter where you are throughout the event experience, to access the captions. And if you have any tech questions during the event, search in the chat for event staff. And if you start to type that in, you will see Kat or Caitlin, and you can direct message either one of them with your questions. So, with that, deep breath. I have to take a moment to acknowledge something huge. We are here together at this moment because we know the world of fundraising is shifting. Last September, 2,100 of you, let me know, were you here last year for the very first monthly giving summit in September? There was 2,100 of you here ready to rethink the way we fundraise. And I want you to hear me so clear right now. You are so important, from food banks to theaters to mental health services, animal rescues, foster care communities, environmental, healthcare services, equality, human rights, all of your organizations, and so many more. Your missions are important and they support the communities and the people from all over the world. So, with that, roll call. This year, there are over 4,500 of you that have registered for this event. This is absolutely incredible. 4,700 of you from 47 countries, because you know that the way that we raise money, the way we sustain our missions, the way we engaged our supporter communities needs to change. So I want to know, how did you hear about the event, right? Wow, it's amazing. We more than doubled this event in 6 months. And I can't believe that our team actually produce and put on a whole other event in 6 months with the holidays in between that and the start of the year. So big round of applause to the team working so hard behind the scenes to make this happen, and all of the speakers that you're going to meet over the next 2.5 days. So love to know in the chat, how did you hear about it? Instagram from me. I'm glad, from me, a colleague, podcast listener, friends at Fundraise Up, Facebook. Amazing. Well, regardless of what brought you here, we are so thankful and thrilled that you are here. And we are gathered because the fundraising landscape might not be getting any easier. Budgets might be tight. Donor expectations might be evolving. The old way of doing things might feel different. But here's the good news. We together have agency over how we build the future of our organizations. And we do not have to stay stuck in cycles of uncertainty. We have the power to create predictable, sustainable revenue streams through monthly giving. And that's why we're here. So that's why this summit will now take place every February, because recurring giving is not just a tactic, it is the foundation of long-term success. And over the next 2 days, you're going to hear from leaders who are doing things differently, who are proving that financial stability isn't just possible, it's happening. So whether you are just starting your program or you're scaling to the next level, know that you have control over your fundraising future, and it starts right here, right now. This is the Monthly Giving Summit Manifesto. Last year, joy, and it's already happening right now, radiated through this community. I mean, you might already be feeling it right now. It is so powerful. I know we are virtual, but I hope you feel it coming across the screen, uplifting one another. It was the coolest thing to witness, and it carried on outside of the event on LinkedIn posts and social and emails that I saw go out. It was phenomenal. This summit is all about learning, collaboration, connection. It's a space that's inclusive, accessible, equitable, where everyone, no matter your background, your experience, feels valued and supported. Kindness and respect comes first, and we bring all different experiences and perspectives to the table, and that's what makes conversations richer. So we're here to grow together, walk away with really actionable ideas that can transform our work. And just like in September, let's make this summit an incredible space for innovation, connection, and impact. And not only just to learn, but I hope we have some fun because that's what it's all about, and lean into that mindset of curiosity. And so, before I talk about everything else with the summit, it would not be possible to be here without the incredible partners that you see on the screen who believed in me and this wild vision from day one. Like many of you, I run a very lean team putting all of this together, and it's because of their commitment to innovation and sustainability and fundraising that every single nonprofit speaker, your peers that you see here today and tomorrow, they are paid for their time, or they have chosen to gift their fee to a deserving organization. I will never not pay somebody for their time and their experience in being here. So that is a huge, huge win. This is the kind of support that fuels real change. And the right technology, whether or not you wanted your tech stack to be on your bingo card for 2025, the right technology is essential for scaling a successful monthly giving program. So whether you're launching, you're growing, you're optimizing, these partners have the tools to help you succeed. So I encourage you spend time in their expo rooms, explore their solutions, and find the best fit for your needs. So a massive thank you to GiveButter, Fundraise Up, Mission Wired, I Donate, Donor Perfect, and to Tango. I cannot say this enough. Your belief in this movement and the dedication to support nonprofits make this summit possible. Also, later today, each partner will be hosting a power lesson, which is like our version of a 15-minute TED Talk in their expo rooms, where you'll have the opportunity to pick which room you want to go into and the topic that most excites you. And I noticed a few of you mentioned the podcast. So if you love insights from the summit, there's 170 plus other episodes waiting for you. My podcast is called Missions to Movements, and there's inspiring stories, bold, actionable strategies, and expert advice for you. You can click the actual button on the top of your screen now, and it'll open up the podcast page. This show has been listened to in 121 countries, 3,600 cities, which just states that, y'all, we are connected more than we even think across the globe. And I am beyond excited and thankful that LinkedIn for Nonprofits is the official podcast sponsor, helping us bring even more value to nonprofit leaders like you. So check out their full suite. You can click the link button above here. Full suite of nonprofit resources in the LinkedIn for Nonprofits hub. Okay. So if you're looking for something on your runs in the morning, or when you're going to pick up the kids, or folding laundry, or making dinner, would love for you to check out the show. And if this is the first time that we've met, maybe you found this, some of you said like on a Facebook ad, and you're brand new here, I want to give you a little bit of rundown as to who I am and what I'm all about. I am the founder of Positive Equation, and I am dedicated to helping you build, grow, and sustain thriving monthly giving programs. Because this is why I believe the growth of a successful monthly giving program extends beyond the boundaries of the organization itself. The true power lies in the communities outside. That's where this untapped source of inspiration, collaboration, innovation, and that's why we're here. And at Positive Equation, our purpose is simple but powerful. It's to bring people together, to share transformative ideas, to foster meaningful connections that spark action, and to elevate collective impact so that more organizations like yourselves can build sustainable funding models for lasting change. Now, this summit, this movement, this work, it's not just about revenue growth. It's about reimagining fundraising as community-driven effort where donors, nonprofits, partners, we all work together to create something bigger than any one of us could ever achieve alone. So I want to invite you, whether you're here to learn, to network, or push the boundaries of what's possible, you're part of something so much bigger. And I'm so grateful that you are here. So before we begin, something that I loved about last year was our giveaways. Did anybody happen to win a giveaway last year? Was around for the giveaways? So based on how this works is based on the engagement of the chat. So if you're having fun in there, commenting, providing support to others and the speakers on stage, We are going to pull 9 lucky attendees over the course of today and tomorrow to have the opportunity to win these items. There will be 3 of my books, The Monthly Giving Mastermind. There will be 2 $50 gift cards to, you'll notice I'm wearing like an obsessed with monthly giving blazer. This blazer is not one of the items. However, there's some pretty dope monthly giving, recurring giving shirts available on the swag. Swag, swag, swag. There's gonna be 2 feed canvas work bags. These are amazing. I'm gonna explain more about the company in just a little bit. 1 annual membership to Thrive Market, talking about subscriptions for good. And then back as kind of our grand prize is the 2 months with 10 hours each month of virtual assistant support to help grow your monthly giving program. Yes, all the heart faces and emojis. I love it. We all love giveaways. That's right. So keep the engagement bumping throughout the course of the day to be entered to one of these amazing giveaways. Okay. What an incredible room. Y'all, I'm already on fire. This is amazing. There's over 1,000 of you live here right now. I'm looking at the ticker. This is phenomenal. And just think about there's more than 4,500 nonprofit professionals registered for this event, all excited about the same topic. There's no other conference that I know of that is centered on just this. And I want you to soak in, just take a second. I feel like, when people tell you at your wedding, like, take a second to like get a beat and observe the room. I feel like this is this moment. The beautiful opportunity of this community being together right now. Each of us has a shared vision to create a sustainable, reliable revenue and uninterrupted impact for our causes. And today, I want to challenge you with one simple but powerful question. Do you have the habit of asking for recurring gifts? And that's what we're going to dive into during my morning keynote today. Now, if you would have told me 14 years ago that I would have dedicated my career to helping nonprofits build thriving monthly giving programs, I wouldn't have believed you. Not because I didn't care. I've always been really passionate about impact, but because of the time, like monthly giving was not even in my radar. In 2011, I started in the nonprofit world officially after graduating from college as the director of marketing and development for a nonprofit. And I was juggling all the things. This might sound very familiar, from events, social media, donor appeals, email campaigns. Does this sound familiar to anybody? We talked about fundraising all the time, but never monthly giving really as a strategy. It was always major gifts, it was annual appeals, and our big gala. And so, why does this matter to me? There was something really big that happened. I watched a movie. I watched a movie called The Whistleblower. Has anybody seen this movie before? The Whistleblower, it came out in 2010, and it's a drama based on the true story of Kathleen Bukovac, a Nebraskan police officer who she took a job as a UN peacekeeper in post-war Bosnia, and she uncovered a human trafficking ring, only to realize that actual members of the UN and private contractors were complicit in the cover-up. And despite threats and corruption and obstruction, she risked everything to tell the truth. And I rented this from a red box and I thought it was a government thriller movie. And at the very end, it said the words based on a true story. And everything, I was shocked. I wanted to do something. So the first thing I did was I went to Google and I searched online for anti-human trafficking organizations. There's over 1,000 just in the US alone. And so I continued searching. I was like, how in the world was I going to pick one organization of these thousands to support or volunteer with? Kelly, I remember Redbox. Yeah, to support and be with. Then I found Blythe Hill. She is the founder of Dressember. She stood out because she stood out about what she was doing and she was vocal about it. I found her TED Talk on YouTube and she was doing something so different. She created her, what I like to call, moat. In businesses, it's really common around a moat of what makes you different, what makes it so untouchable that you're who somebody wants to work with or support. And her story stood out, and how Dressember fundraised using dresses and ties as a peer-to-peer campaign to raise awareness was so unique. And so I always say, I love Dressember too. One of the top ways to stand out is to create your moat. I've had the really fortunate opportunity. This is a QR code to listen to episode 142, where Dressember has actually been acquired by IJM, International Justice Mission. And it's a really interesting story about how she made the decision to do that as a founder, and become part of this bigger coalition, which I thought was so powerful. And so we want to make sure that we create our moats by telling our stories. Your personal, unique stories are so powerful. And this is my daughter, Kennedy. And since before she was born, the on the right is this past Valentine's Day, so just a couple weeks ago, I was telling her stories. We tell lots of stories in this house, lots of stories on repeat. And now more than ever, your personal stories matter to amplify the work that you're doing. And so nearly 5 years ago, I joined Dressember's The Collective, their monthly giving program. And I wanted to just I am one individual, but what does it mean to be a monthly donor of 5 organizations? Like, who is this person, right? So, Dressember, they use fashion. I talked about the dresses and the ties to raise awareness and funds to combat human trafficking. The Hope Booth, I am a member of the movement. They refurbish old telephone booths and install them in public spaces to provide messages of hope and mental health resources. You will hear from a member of the Hope Booth in just a few minutes. ACLU defends and promotes civil liberties and constitutional rights through litigation, advocacy, and community engagement. I'm a monthly donor of the ACLU. I'm a monthly donor of Chamber of Mothers, advocates for policies and supports mothers, including paid family leave, affordable childcare, and maternal health. And lastly, Politicist, providing funding to cover childcare costs so parents can participate in civic activities, ensuring families have a voice in democracy. Now, I give in support to all of these organizations because it's so aligned with my core identity and because I was asked. I was asked to join specifically as a monthly donor to these organizations. Now, I don't mean that they literally called me and asked, but whether it was a social ad, whether it was the first thing I saw on their website, whether Gloria Umana at the Hope Booth, it was a LinkedIn post talking about the movement specifically, I was called in to ask. So here's a question. What if we collectively could unlock $9 billion? $9 billion. Giving Tuesday has been running an analysis on the opportunities in our sector, and no surprise, recurring giving is at the top of the list. And so you are going to get a preview, a first look at some of the key numbers from that analysis. So right now, only 3% of all charitable donations are given on a recurring basis in the United States. If we move that number from 3 to 5% together, we would unlock an additional $9 billion in annual funding for nonprofits. Now think about that. $9 billion, not just one time, every single year. That's enough to fund programs, hire more staff, expand services, and create more impact. But now this shift doesn't happen on its own and by accident, right? It happens when we as leaders start changing our own habits, not just the habits of our donors, but it starts with how we prioritize. Yeah, isn't that crazy? I just got chills. I know when they first told me this, I was like, can I please share that? I know it hasn't been publicly announced anywhere, but this group needs to hear it. But most importantly, how do we communicate and how do we ask? So I want you to think for a second about your own life. How many of you have a Netflix subscription or Hulu or Disney or any entertainment platform? I'm going to keep my hand raised. How about a gym membership? I'm going to keep my hand raised. I go to Orange Theory. I need a class. I need people to motivate me. How about a meal delivery service? HelloFresh. We are constantly in waves of this because I am not a good cook and I need a box to help me prepare meals. But we love the ease, right? We love the predictability, the convenience, and the donors, they're no different. They love the habit of giving. They set it and they forget it until, of course, they're like, I'm so into this mission. But here's the real question. Do we, as nonprofits, have the habit of asking? Or Is it still the little sidebar on the website, the PS message in your email appeal, a backup plan? Because be honest, how many of us are prioritizing monthly giving the way we should? Because this is the reality. If we want donors to build the habit of giving in a recurring first manner, we need to build the habit of asking in a recurring first manner. So, how does it typically get positioned? Let's look at this example. There's just one example. How many donation pages look like this, right? A small monthly giving button right underneath a hidden checkbox. And maybe this is not all of you, but maybe it's a few. And now ask yourself if a donor, this is a real page I took from a real nonprofit. If a donor landed on this page, what's the first thing they see? Are they being asked to join something powerful and ongoing about community? Or are they being asked to give once with a small secondary option to consider monthly giving? When we treat recurring giving as an afterthought, donors will too. That's just the fact. So here's the stats again. We already know the potential. If we collectively can increase recurring giving from 3 to 5%, that is an extra $9 billion for nonprofits annually. But how do we actually make that happen? Right? That's the question. It starts with flipping the script. If we treat recurring gifts as the primary way to support your organization rather than the optional way, here's the truth. Monthly donors just don't stick around longer. They also give more over time. They feel more connected to your work. They are way more likely to increase their gifts, give again, introduce you to networks. I am hosting a fundraiser at my house, volunteer, and leave legacy gifts. If we commit to asking differently, we will not just increase our funding. We will create a new culture of philanthropy, one where sustained giving is the norm, not the exception, just like we've been taught in culture with the subscription economy. So, how do we move today from knowledge to action? There are two commitments we need to make today. First, implementation starts now. Over the next 2 days, you're going to hear the most amazing strategies and case studies and practical tactics, but we have to commit what we learned today, not later, not next year, but today. And second, we must do this together. The most successful monthly giving programs do not operate in silos. I love our Sustainer Slack group. There's 150 orgs in there. They collaborate, they share, they lift each other up. If we truly want to grow this 2%, we have to do it together. We have to build a community of support. So, this is my challenge. Before we dive into today's session, this is my only challenge today. Please take a moment. Think about your next fundraising campaign, your website right now, the next email you have prepared to send out. And what's one way that you can start asking in a recurring first way? And number two, there are over 1,100 of you now in here right now. Who is one person you can connect with here today to collaborate on growing your program? This summit is not just about ideas, it is about action. And if we can take that step together and make recurring giving the main event, I mean, wow. Think about what that can do. Let's make today the moment we stop treating monthly giving as an afterthought. Because when we do, we are not just fundraising. We are building the future of philanthropy together. So I am so excited to do this with you. Let's get started.